The Chevy Equinox is the 4th best-selling car in America. So why are people buying so many Equinoxes? Maybe they're super efficient? I don't know. Today, we're going to find out. This is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2023 Chevy Equinox. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look at it. This is a pretty high-trim RS all-wheel drive model, and to be honest with you guys, this is probably the best spec'd and best-looking Equinox I've ever seen. It's the RS package, and it's finished in this really nice shade of dark green. This is like as NPC as you can get. There are so many Equinoxes out on the road. I see a million of them every time I leave the house, but believe it or not, this is the first one that I've driven. It's the first one that I've spent time with. So I guess I'm just trying to understand why so many people buy them, but maybe it'll be super efficient and surprise us in today's test. So let's go ahead and get started. If you want to learn more about the Chevy Equinox, we will have a link in the description to all of our other videos covering it. So why do we run this test? Well, the EPA's fuel economy test, which gives this Chevy Equinox with all-wheel drive 30 MPG on the highway, only averages 48 miles per hour, and we know that some people like to take their cars on actual real-world road trips. So what we're going to do today is go out 50 miles and back 50 miles, averaging 70 miles per hour to get a more real-world figure. A couple of things worth noting for today's test. Outside temperature is 38 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll be running the climate control inside the cabin at 73 degrees auto. Tire pressures have been set to their factory door placard indicated 35 PSI cold, and we'll be using the same gas pump both times using the same 3-click filling method to get the most accurate results possible. All right, let's go ahead, hop out, grab our first fill. Just about 8 gallons going in there for our first fill. Interesting panel fitment right here on the rear bumper. Oh, fixed it. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get started with our test. All right, climate control set there to 73 auto. Excuse that loud fan. Go ahead and reset our trip, and we are off. No drive modes here in the Chevy Equinox, simply a drivetrain selection, if you will. Front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive mode. It's just about all they give you, and I honestly think that that's okay for a car like this. I think sometimes we get lost in all of the different drive modes that were offered in cars, and in a Chevy Equinox, don't really think you need drive modes. All right, well, highway's about a quarter mile down the road. We will drive nice and slowly till we get there, and I'll catch up with you guys once I am merging onto the highway. Now, the purpose of this test is not to hypermile. I'm simply going to merge onto the highway here, set the cruise control to a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour, and just drive like any normal person would on an road trip to get the most realistic results possible. Got quite a bit going on right now. There is a house right here, quite a few semis, so take our time merging on here. Get our cruise set. And under first highway impressions, the Chevy Equinox is just about what you'd expect. It's middle of the road pretty much everywhere. Moderate amounts of wind and road noise. It's decently comfortable. The actual ride quality in this thing is pretty good, even if it does default to the furthest gap. Go for a pass here. The seats are not exceptionally comfortable. In fact, the headrests are a bit like putting your head back on a piece of concrete. But otherwise, oh, and also the dead pedal sits too high. And also your arms sit too high because this thing sits too high. So a couple of weird ergonomic things in the interior of the Equinox, which are kind of surprising just because so many people buy these cars. You think that it would be universally comfortable, but I guess not so much. A couple of pros though, I won't be too mean about the car. It does have a heated steering wheel. The leather on here feels pretty nice, and we do also have wireless Apple CarPlay, so that's a nice thing as well. And a panoramic moonroof in this RS model. Pricing on this car is about 38 grand all in for an all-wheel drive, pretty much fully loaded car, so not terrible. Anyways though, I'm gonna go ahead and get settled in, get to driving, and I will catch up with you guys once I am towards the end of my journey. Finishing up our drive here in the 2023 Chevy Equinox, indicated on the cluster just about 29 MPG. Right now sitting at 28.9. It's been hovering and slowly gaining actually as we've gone on the trip. At the halfway mark it was right about 26, and we've been creeping up towards that 29 mark since that point. So curious to see what it will read out once we get back to the pump. As a reminder, EPA is 30 on this car, so pretty standard number here. Usually during winter, cars will read out just a little bit lower. I don't know what this winter blend is that they put in the gas, but someone made a good point on the last fuel economy test that we ran is, well, the gas is a little bit different during the winter. I guess I need to look into that a little bit more to see what the actual difference is. But as far as sitting in this Chevy Equinox and driving this Chevy Equinox, it's actually been a little bit better than I was expecting. The actual seat hasn't been hurting my back like I thought it would. The seat itself is quite a bit better.
Watch out. Vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Thank you, Jeeves. Beautiful Lincoln Mark 8 there as well. The vinyl top. The actual seat's been a lot better than the piece of concrete that they put for a headrest. Otherwise, though, Bose 7-speaker sound system, it's okay. We'll have to wait on Charlie's rating of that. The lane keep assist is actually pretty good for what it is. They don't really claim it to be a steering assist or anything like that. It's just a very kind of base level vague system, but it does a pretty good job. You know, it'll ping pong you in the lines and not let you go out of them, so that's pretty good. Auto climate control seems to do a pretty good job as well. The actual infotainment is good. It's been running wireless Apple CarPlay nicely. Well, I guess technically wired because my thank you, Jeeves, appreciate that. Anyways, though, I'll go ahead and finish up my last mile or so. See, we're ticking over 100 miles here, and well, I will catch up with all of you once I have brimmed the tank on the all-wheel drive Equinox. Even though we're running in front-wheel drive mode, it is still carrying a rear differential with us. But anyways, and 3.578 gallons going in there for our final fill. Let's hop in and see how we did. Today's journey was 102.27 miles. We'll go ahead and divide that by the 3.578 gallons of gas we put into the Equinox, and that gives us 28.6 MPG, very consistent with what we were reading out here on the cluster, rounding up then to 29 MPG here in the Equinox all-wheel drive. Just 1 MPG under EPA, and the fact that we're running winter blend gas, it's a little bit cold out today, I think that that is just about right on the money for what we were expecting. Now, does this mean that this is a class leader? Definitely not. We have seen SUVs in this class achieve over 30 MPG, but this is an all-wheel drive car. Even though it was running in front-wheel drive mode, it does have a little bit more weight to carry, so that could excuse this slightly lower number here. And in this Equinox, we have a 15.6 gallon fuel tank, which gives us an effective highway cruising range of 440 miles. Again, not class leading. We see cars go over 500 miles quite a lot in this class, but there you go. Just about middle of the road, which is what I expected. 29 MPG, 440 miles of effective highway cruising range. I guess I can kind of see why people buy this car. It's super easy to live with. Everything's very straightforward in here, and it's decently efficient as well. Again, if you want to learn more about the Chevy Equinox, we will have a link in the description to our other videos on it. But that'll end it for us today. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.